In January 2026, the Secretary of War issued a memo directing the Department of War to accelerate America's military AI dominance. The order mandated the military become an AI-first warfighting force across all components. This strategy responded to China's pursuit of intelligentized warfare, a shift within the People's Liberation Army to integrate artificial intelligence into every facet of its command and targeting architecture. At the same time, Russia had embraced a strategy of industrialized attrition, mass-producing autonomous drone swarms to overwhelm conventional radar and defense systems. The U.S. counter-strategy relies on decision compression. Platforms like the Maven Smart System process massive battlespace datasets instantly, distilling raw intelligence into a single actionable coordinate. This executes strike cycles at speeds faster than human cognition, moving from identification to engagement in seconds. This shifts the U.S. military's operational standard from deliberate strategic analysis to high-velocity algorithmic reflexes. Prioritizing machine speed over human deliberation sets a volatile baseline for global conflict, where survival is dictated by the velocity of a software response. Operation Epic Fury, launched in February 2026, served as the world's first full-scale AI-directed war, involving the United States, Israel, and Iran. The campaign maintained an unprecedented tempo, executing over 5,500 strikes within the first 10 days of hostilities. This hyper-condensed strike campaign focused on the rapid decapitation of hostile leadership and nuclear infrastructure. The primary kinetic tool was the Tomahawk cruise missile, programmed with AI-generated coordinates and launched from naval platforms across the Persian Gulf. On February 28th, a Tomahawk missile struck the Shajara Tayyebe Girls Elementary School in Minab, Iran. The compound was hit 3 times in rapid succession. The strike killed over 165 civilians. Most of the victims were schoolchildren between the ages of 7 and 12. A preliminary military inquiry confirmed the missile's guidance system functioned exactly as programmed, hitting the provided coordinates. The failure exposes the lethal risk of algorithmic brittleness when paired with flawed human intelligence. U.S. targeting is governed by Joint Publication 3-60, the doctrinal framework meant to ensure military strikes comply with international law and minimize civilian harm. The cycle consists of 6 phases. The disaster in Minab traces back to Phase 2, target development. Phase 2 requires strict verification that a nominated target is currently a lawful military objective. Historically, the Minab site was part of an active Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps naval facility, making it a valid military target in previous years. Between 2013 and 2016, the building was physically separated from the base, fenced off, and converted entirely into a civilian primary school. The Defense Intelligence Agency's database retained an outdated classification for the building, labeling it as a military target based on 10-year-old data. This physical conversion was documented and visible in unclassified open-source satellite imagery available at the time of the strike. In modern warfare, the illusion of digital certainty leads targeting officers to trust database codes over real-world physical verification. The Maven Smart System does not create its own intelligence. Instead, it ingests existing DIA databases to generate real-time strike packages. This process results in data laundering. Maven takes a stale, decade-old classification and presents it as a high-confidence, actionable strike package. Article 57 of International Humanitarian Law requires that those planning an attack do everything feasible to verify that targets are not civilian. Automation bias effectively nullifies this precaution. Human operators are psychologically inclined to accept high-confidence AI outputs without question. The sheer speed of Operation Epic Fury denied operators the time necessary to cross-verify Maven's coordinates against current, raw imagery. The algorithm performed its task with perfect fidelity, executing a flawed human premise at a velocity that bypassed human oversight. If a software-driven process directs a missile into a primary school, the question of legal accountability remains unresolved. Prosecuting a war crime under the Rome Statute requires proof that a commander intentionally directed an attack against civilians. Proving intent is legally impossible when officers act on the outputs of an opaque algorithmic black box. Legal scholars are citing the Martens Clause to argue that public conscience requires meaningful human control over every life-and-death decision. Under the U.S. Uniform Code of Military Justice, officers could be charged with dereliction of duty for failing to verify target data, though this falls far short of a murder prosecution. International laws designed to punish malicious human intent are currently blind to the systemic negligence of automated warfare. Following the Manab strike, 85 countries gathered in Spain for the REAIM 2026 summit to debate the regulation of military AI. Despite the human cost in Iran, both the United States and China refused to sign a joint declaration to regulate autonomous weapons. This refusal is rooted in economic asymmetry. Cheap AI-enabled drones have made traditional multi-million-dollar interceptor defenses unsustainable. Nations face a geopolitical prisoner's dilemma. They recognize that AI is brittle, but they fear that pausing to verify targets will cede the speed advantage to an adversary. Programs like Replicator and SwarmForge are launching thousands of attritable units, designed to overwhelm through sheer numbers. These systems are built to operate outside of meaningful human control, because no human can manage the volume of data they generate in real time. Defense officials warned at the summit that technological adoption is now outstripping the development of the legal frameworks meant to govern it. The tragedy in Manab establishes a precedent for future warfare, creating a battlefield where software speed outpaces the capacity of human conscience.